Kamea sits more than 1,000 metres above sea level on the fringe of the Papua New Guinea highlands. There are no roads to Kamea. It is isolated by some of the most rugged terrain in the world. The only way to reach it is by air. The settlement itself is a Catholic mission station, founded by French priest Jean Besson in 1966. First contact was still being made with the local Kamean people in the late 1980s. Aside from two-way radio, chartered flights are the settlement's main contact with the outside world and sole means of bringing in cargo. It is not only an expensive means of transport, but a dangerous one. Air accidents have claimed the lives of 2 priests, 2 lay missionaries, and several local parishioners over the past 4 decades. The flight from Leh, around 150 kilometres away, takes less than half an hour. Thick cloud cover often prevents planes from landing on Kamea's mountain airstrip for months on end. This time, clear skies prevail. All of a sudden, Kamea comes into view. The experienced pilots of North Coast Aviation bank hard and begin their abrupt descent for a bumpy landing. The plane is greeted by members of the local Kamean community, who less than 50 years ago were living as a loose collection of Stone Age tribes. When the first missionaries flew in, the Kamea had such a fearsome reputation that the native Papua New Guineans on the flight refused to disembark, fearing that they would become main course for one of their country's few cannibalistic tribes. Although the arrival of Christianity and corned beef put an end to this custom, the disdain held by many Papua New Guineans for the Kamea remains. Today, the Kamea are amongst the poorest in the country. The average annual income is less than $40. Due to the cost of transport, basic supplies such as cooking oil and packets of instant noodles are expensive luxuries. The people survive on subsistence agriculture and sell what crops they can at small markets such as this one. The people of Kamea have been neglected by their own government. Without exception, their infrastructure, including a school and a hydroelectric generator, has been built or funded by Australian charity, mainly from the Catholic Church. The high school teaches classes up to Year 10. These students are on yard duty. Each one of them is required to bring machetes or knives to school. If they did not cut back the jungle's undergrowth, it would soon swallow their school and the entire mission station. In some respects, the facilities at Kamea Rural Hospital surpass those of many regional hospitals in Papua New Guinea. Pilots are known to fly themselves in for X-rays rather than take their chances at Port Moresby General Hospital. The visiting fee for these young mothers is around 20 cents, but patients are allowed to pay in kind. Bananas and taro are common substitutes. According to locals, the climate at Kamea is changing. They say that their home is covered by thicker rain clouds for longer periods than they can remember. The constant rain affects their crops. Many of Kamea's children are visibly malnourished. Climate change studies show that malaria is reaching into mountainous areas of Papua New Guinea. That is certainly the case in Kamea. Locals report that there were few malaria cases 5 years ago. Now, 90% of all patients at Kamea Rural Hospital are suffering from the disease. Work is underway to build a road that will link Kamea to Leh. This initiative, financed by the charity Melbourne Overseas Missions, is intended to open up trade and increase prosperity. While this represents a bold step towards modernisation, it is not without risk. The Kamea's isolation has protected them from an AIDS epidemic as well as the violent crime that plagues Papua New Guinea's urban areas. A new road could change this, but for the time being, their remoteness remains both a blessing and a curse.